You're listening to the Known Legacy Podcast, brought to you by Known Legacy Ministries. For more information, go to knownlegacy.org. Now here's your hosts, Bill and Travis.
That's so awkward. We just both smiled at each other. I don't think we've ever done that. Usually it's like, hey, you doing, man? We're just like, what do we say?
Hey, for our friends on Facebook, thank you guys for joining us today. We're a little later than normal.
We are.
Just a little delayed.
Which is why am I more tired now than I normally am?
I know. Normally this is like our lunchtime that we just have a chance to sit down and relax. So if you're eating lunch, enjoy.
Hey, this might be good, like lunchtime with Bill and Travis.
Yes.
I don't know if that's good or not.
No.
If you want to have, you're in like a diet and you're like, I want to.
No, I'll go. If you would like to sponsor a lunchtime with Bill and Travis, you can DoorDash any meal you want to us, and we will eat it while recording. And so you too can enjoy lunch with us. How about that?
I'm a Jersey Mike's kind of fan.
I'm a food fan. So if there's food involved, I'm kind of in. I'm in. So
you're accepting of all foods.
Yeah. And you can track us as we gain weight over the next few months and slowly blow out all our clothing and have to get new clothes.
You've heard of the Fit Tracker. This is Fat Tracker. Anyways, so
welcome to Known Legacy, everyone. Hey, if you haven't done it yet, man, if you would do us a favor, give us a rating on whatever podcast you're listening to this.
Yeah.
Like us, subscribe, share it with your family, share it with your friends, share it with your pets. And as always, you can follow us on Facebook, on Instagram.
Yeah.
We also have a webpage, www.knownlegacy.org, where you can get resources. You can listen to old podcasts, see old videos, and all that good stuff.
It's good stuff. So.
And if you have a comment or a question or would like the address where you can DoorDash for us, it's info@knownlegacy.org.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, today we didn't get on to talk about lunch, although now I'm hungry. We did get to talk about someone who has a hunger for the hearts of men.
Ooh, good transition.
You like that one? That was good.
That's why you get paid the bucks you get paid.
That's where I get paid the big bucks.
Yes.
It is our friend who's been on before, Jay Mayo, and he has some exciting news to let us know and to let you guys know that he has just. Jay, do you want to kick it off and tell us what just happened with the new nonprofit that you have?
Yeah, man. Hey, it's good to be back with you guys. Before I say that, I was laughing that you were talking about how much we all love to eat. When you talked about CrossFit a while ago, we should call it CrossFat. Right? Creative ways to get, like CrossFit's all these crazy exercises to get fit. We should start one called CrossFat.
It's like 5K to couch.
Today we're going to eat a dozen donuts each.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Sorry, I didn't mean to get distracted.
No, you're great. You're great.
You fit in well, man. You fit in well.
Yeah, we launched, and you guys really kind of, last time I was on, we kind of touched on it, but we've officially launched our nonprofit called Epic Warrior Foundation.
Awesome.
C3, and we're officially approved by the IRS, and just maybe a month ago got all that final approval. But yeah, it's a nonprofit that what it says right there, it's focused on really helping first responders in their daily battle to protect and serve us. So we want to equip, empower, and encourage them in a variety of ways that kind of are contained in those three words. But yeah, it's focused on nonprofits or first responders and these people that go to war for us every day to protect and to serve. And it's kind of like who's fighting for them and who's supporting them, who's taking care of them. And so this nonprofit is focused on helping them stay in the battle. And so we're so excited. It's already been a couple-year vision that I've put into motion finally and took the risk to do.
That's awesome.
So cool.
Interesting you say that. Yesterday, I had a phone call. A family that I've been involved with. I married the couple. I baptized their 3 kids, and he's a firefighter actually over in College Station, Bryan, Texas, right? But his family still lives up here, and I guess his dad woke up, bad headache. Long story short, ended up in the hospital with a brain bleed, right? So yesterday morning, my day was packed, and his wife reaches out to me. And she's like, you need to come visit him in the hospital with his son, because his son doesn't know how to process this. Here's a guy who's a paramedic, runs on the trucks all the time, is doing what he does, and he's now looking at all of this stuff with his dad in the hospital bed, doing much better.
Good.
A lot of answered prayers on that. But what you're talking about with this, Jay, is so needed, because this guy, as we talked for a while, he's like, man, I when I roll into a scene, I'm able to disconnect from whatever the tragedy is that I'm engaging in, because I know exactly what needs to happen, and I'm good at my job, and I can get them the immediate care that they need. He goes, this one is so different, because now I'm seeing all of that stuff happen, but it's my dad, and I can't disconnect, but I want to disconnect, but I don't know how to do anything with that. And it just was fascinating, the very unique journey that these guys and gals that are on the front lines, the early first responders that we have in our community, and they have a brotherhood, but I think it's a brotherhood that kind of collectively agrees to not talk about some of that stuff because they don't know how to process it, and they're fearful if they do start to process it that they'll lose the ability to disconnect in the midst of those chaotic, tragic moments. Does that resonate kind of with what you guys are realizing and experiencing, Jay?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Their ability to detach and lean into their training is what they have to do every day in these incredibly tough situations. And I can only imagine the story you shared. Imagine that ends up being a family member that you roll up on. In fact, one of the fears that you'll hear in that community is this fear that what if I'm responding to a tragedy and it's someone I know and love? Because the ability to emotionally detach and just lean into your training becomes so much more difficult in that moment, because you know this person, you love this person.
Yeah.
So it seems odd that you're trained to deal with these situations, but when it's your own dad or your own family member. But here's the deal: that's human, right? That's human.
Right.
Yeah.
You love this person, and it's harder to detach from the situation because it's your dad, it's your mom, it's your family member. So yeah, 100%. They experience that every day. Yeah.
So how would you and your organization, let's say he reaches out to you guys, what would be that process, and kind of what would be the gifts that you guys would have for him to kind of help him through that journey?
Yeah, what we're trying to do is become we don't want to duplicate what's already going on with good other nonprofit organizations.
Right.
And so what we're going to try to do is be the network and to provide resources and funding. And so, for instance, let's say if someone reached out and they've been through a first responder and they really are finding the effects of all of this career, having whether it's relational substance abuse, which is a common thing.
Big issue.
Yeah.
There's a great organization, for example, called Warriors Heart, out of Bandera. Like, they work with first responders, military first responders also. And so it would be us kind of doing the triage conversation to say, what do you need? Here's how we can begin to help you. And the things we can get involved in to do personal support, we want to connect them to organizations that are already equipped in doing some of this more intensive things to provide support. So it would kind of be like trying to assess what they need. Is this long-term support they need, or it can simply be maybe they need a couple of counseling appointment conversations. So wherever they're at, we're either going to connect it to a network of counselors we have, or if they're local, we'll just say, hey, we'd love to sit down and visit with you. And so it's providing the funding for them to do that and connecting them through a network to the organizations that are already doing that. And so that's primarily how we would do that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that makes a ton of sense.
Makes a ton of sense. So I guess my question is, how did you end up with this being your passion? Out of all the things that guys are wrestling with, and what is it in your story that kind of sparked you and drew you to this very unique and extremely important mission?
That's a great question. For the last probably 10 years in Midland, what I had done, Bill probably knows, my heart for counseling, my heart for really helping people in broken moments, whether that's walking through grief and tragedy as a hospital chaplain or as a pastor, as a counselor. And so I just began to realize when I had conversations with people who were in police departments locally that they see and experience this. I just started doing ride-alongs, just really to kind of open the door to be a spiritual support to our local law enforcement. That was my primary goal. I just want to hang out with these guys, get to know them on their turf. So I started doing ride-alongs. And as the more I did ride-alongs, I would realize that what they carry day to day, they don't process. In fact, one guy used to say it this way. He would say, I try to just stack one trauma on top of the next one. So in his mind, today's trauma replaces yesterday's trauma. And as he was telling me that in a conversation, he stopped and I said, well, tell me about the first experience you had. And as he did, he stopped and he said, oh my gosh, one doesn't replace the other. They just stack on top of each other.
Yeah.
And then I realized who's caring for these people because they have to stay on the job. There's a fear that they have. They actually, say, I'm not doing good, they're going to get taken off the line, So there's this tension they live in of, I need some support. It needs to be semi-confidential, but otherwise they just carry the weight of that until something catastrophic happens, like a loss of a marriage or a divorce or even substance abuse. So I discovered it just trying to be in spiritual support to these guys, and I just kept thinking, I want to do something about it. What can I do about this? And I talked myself out of it for probably 3 years. Like, I'm just a dude that I'm not a first responder, because it's a very tight-knit community and they're not going to trust me. They're not going to. And so finally I just stopped making excuses and said, I've got to do something to create an organization where we can just connect with these departments and try to make a difference in their day-to-day to help them stay in the fight. So it really started just wanting to be a chaplain support, discovering their needs and realizing there are organizations that help first responders, but I was like, they're just not doing enough in a way that they can access it primarily confidentially, not specifically through the department, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think there's a lot of value to that because, like you said, there is a stigma, there's a bravado that you need to have in that job, and so there's a lot of hiding that I think these guys do and hoping that it'll just go away. And I think you're resonating in the fact that the stuff just doesn't go away. It compounds. And when it hits that tipping point, to have some resources that it won't go back to HR and it won't get back to your shift leader or won't get back to those guys. It's outside the system and it's there and it's cared for, and you don't need to use finances as an excuse not to engage in that. I think it's beautiful. Yeah,
and I love, even as you're talking, Jay, it just makes me think about the idea that you're trying to stop the crisis from happening. Like, but I feel like so many things are equipped of, when someone goes through a divorce or when we find out about the abuse, it's like, when the blow up happens, we got you.
Right.
But there isn't many, and from what I know, so there's probably a ton of them, but what I'm hearing is that preventive care that these guys need.
Right.
That they're like, hey, listen, I'm watching you die slowly, in your heart. I want to do something about it, and almost bringing some kind of awareness to that now before, because it's very easy. Oh, well, we have divorce care things, or we have 10-step, the 12-step programs, to help. But it's those things before that, and I love that you're being proactive in that. If you could, we've all kind of got this vision. When I started Known Legacy, and when we started this, we had this vision for this is what we'd love to see. What do you have right now in your heart that you're like, man, this is what I'd love to see Epic Warrior become, or this is what the culmination of what I'd love to see it be able to do? And you kind of shared something about the big picture. What would you love? Just dream big, and what would you love to see?
Yeah, I love talking to you guys because you give me the ability to dream. Dig, you know what I mean? Because sometimes you can't just say it to anyone, because I think there's a lot of people that are like, oh, well, that's never gonna, so
exactly.
And probably some of that's probably reality, like, hey, live in the real world. But here's my dream. From the beginning, here's what I see. And we primarily started with a focus on the state of Texas, but here's what I see, that there are three primary things Epic Warrior tries to focus on. It is not just, we're not just an organization that's trying to come in and provide spiritual behavioral health support, but the other was just simply like the cup of cold water idea. So we're going to come in and say, we want to provide you with the best defensive gear, the safety and defensive gear that is allowable. Where are the budget gaps that we can dip in? So it's something tangible to go in and say to a department, hey, do you need duty belts? Do you need bulletproof vests? Do you need, and then secondly, to provide you with the best tactical and defensive training so that you can serve and protect the best way.
Nice.
And so there's gaps in training that they have where they don't have funding to say, well, if we could bring a guy in to help our troops or our first responders or medical personnel, we can only afford this. We could say, all right, we're going to pay the extra $25,000 to bring this, the best trainers you can get in there. And then thirdly, that we become, because we've built that rapport to say, we're here to serve your department. In those interactions, then we get connected to all of the guys and girls that are serving. And then that third piece is where we hope to see, when you are in a crisis and you need personal support, you contact us because we're going to help you. And so what I see is
that's
the big
cool.
picture vision is we're going to prove it out locally where we're at as best we can. But I can envision Epic Warrior Foundation regional offices throughout the state of Texas, north, south, east, west, where I have a regional director, and they're connecting with local departments in that region. Alongside that, what I'd love to see the vision are the best people to simply help serve and say we love you, I think, is to connect to the church in those communities, or churches, to say let the church be the hero locally. And so that we have these multiple different regional kind of outposts for Epic Warrior Foundation that are serving their first responder communities. And of course, all the things like yearly Epic Warrior, Epic Warrior banquets where we're kind of nominating the Epic Warrior of Texas West division that served. And, so I've just dreamed big that way, all of these things. And so we're going to start locally with what we think the vision is and try to prove out what really are the needs. Because I know they're going to be different in urban areas versus rural areas.
Yeah.
So that poor guy that's a police chief or a fire chief out in, Verhalia, Texas, out by Pecos, they're just out there alone doing the job. And so many of it, you may or may not know, but like over 60% of like fire departments are volunteer.
Right.
Yeah.
Those people are just serving on their own home. So we're trying to figure out what's it look like urban versus rural, but that's the big vision of I just see it spreading. It's kind of spreading across Texas and maybe the United States, but that it becomes regionally rooted where communities are supporting their first responders. And I know I'm talking a whole lot, but in a second vision I have is to change the way the world sees a first responder. Because with all the bad PR and press and all of the tension across the world that has kind of taken, 1 or 2% of the first responders who've done things bad, I want the world to see these are real people with real stories that feel called to a real mission. And it's 1% of the population that's willing to run toward the fight what all of the rest of us run away. It's 1% of the population. These are an incredible group of people, and I want people to hear their stories. And that's the whole Epic Warrior podcast that we'll start hopefully in May, to just tell the stories of these.
That's awesome.
So that's the big vision.
What I love about it is you're bringing in a very practical and addressing a very real need.
Yeah.
But you also see something beyond that of like, this is our opportunity to build trust with these men and women. And as we build trust with these men and women, to offer up to them a safe release valve for the pressure that may be building in their lives personally or vocationally or career-wise. And I think it's absolutely brilliant. And, man, I think it's best of luck to you.
Yeah.
And I love dreaming big, because one of the things that Bill and I always talk about is our God is so much bigger than we can even imagine.
Yeah.
And there's how many epic stories of people getting to the the edge of where their ability is at, whether it be David and Goliath, or it be Moses at the Red Sea, and seeming like, what can I do?
Yeah.
And then God shows up. He goes, it's not what you can do, it's what I'm going to do through you. So just raise your stick and see what happens. And all of a sudden, boom, the sea parts and people are rescued, And boom, Goliath falls and a nation is rescued. And that's kind of what you guys are doing, where you're like, man, just a handful of fish and some loaves. Let's see what God can do with it. And how many people out there in the trenches are going to be fed by this over the long haul. It's just beautiful.
Yeah, I love the passion of it, because I see in you the heart to want to heal these guys, but then also, like, it's such a rarity right now, and we're so divided when we hear about first responders and what people think, and we both live on the same side of how important they are in our world. They are heroes. So I love hearing this passion and the desire for this for these guys. So I love that you're dreaming, because I feel like most people don't. That's what excites me about it. And it's funny. I keep thinking about, like, Jay wants through Epic Warrior to produce the ability of John Wick, healed by the heart of Jesus Christ, is what I kind of hear right there.
That should be the tagline.
There's something about it, like, just really good. And so I love that it's a holistic thing. Like, I want to fix this, but it's not just this. It's not just here's bulletproof vest,
holistic.
But it's everything. It's like, but want to heal your heart at the same time, because we need all of you complete,
right?
So that you can go home and love your families. And
how many we hear the stories of these guys, and we see the videos of some of these first responders, and then they blow up in the media without the full backstory. We understand that, but I'm wondering how many guys are found themselves in that spot and never would have been there had they had a release valve someplace else to talk, to process through, and to make sure that they are on a good place, so that they don't have just one bad, that's all it takes, one bad decision on one bad day because of one bad thing that happened that had nothing to do with anything, but they're on shift, and they got to do what they got to do because they got to pay the bills, and that's where I think what you're offering is such a huge blessing to them. So what can the guys listening do to help support, to stand behind this? What could they do if they wanted to be a part of this? What's the best thing that they could do, Jay?
There's a lot of ways that they could. Let me think of like some real practical ways from where, and again, there's kind of the excitement and a fear I have at the same time, because I'm like, I don't know if this thing's going to get super big, super quick. And, but one real practical way, if you have relationships with your local fire and rescue and police departments, your relationships and contact with them, if you reached out to us and said, hey, I would like to be the connection, or I want to connect you with, Jim I know at the police department. Next time, it's just, rather than me cold calling police chiefs and fire and rescue and trying to build some rapport, to go, I don't need anything from you. We're just here to say, we see you, we appreciate you, what can we do to support you? People from their community connecting with us and kind of being the person on the ground. Say, hey, let me connect you and introduce you, and so that's one way, is people have connections with their local law enforcement, fire and rescue, EMT community, that they can be the relationship leverage that we need to just say, let's connect. And honestly, we'd love to connect through you, so you can reach out, which we'll talk about the website, I guess, here.
Go for it.
There's a place to connect right on the front page of the website, which is epicwarrior.org, epicwarrior.org. But there's a contact. If you just send me an email and just say, hey, I'm in here and I know the local fire department, fire chief or police department chief, or I know some guys, even begin to develop contacts. That's one way. Obviously, we'd love for you to give. There's a place to give, website to donate to that, because as we begin to develop, we already have requests from local police departments, and it's simple equipment needs, like teams that every day go in and don't have hearing protection, like so they're going to flash bang to reach a door, and you got guys with their finger in their ear.
Oh my gosh!
Protecting their ears, because the
that's
equipment,
crazy.
modify to the best hearing protection. But to give toward those opportunities for us to meet current needs, but also this first 6 months to 8 months, we're really doing a lot of communication, contact, networking with departments and also organizations. So we just need seed money to begin to gather those needs and begin to create a network.
Yeah.
Provide those so you can give toward that. And then, I would love, again, as things develop to connect with churches in your communities to kind of be the Epic Warrior Foundation team in your local community. I mean, that's why I see it. It's not me or our team going and being the people in those communities. It's raising up community support. So as things develop, I would love for the community to do responder appreciation event once a year and begin this period.
Yeah, that's awesome.
This would be great.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I mean, as we think about this, we'll have the website in the bio of this video, so we'll have that ready to go, and make sure is there a way to connect with you on there, like an email or something like that they can click to want to connect with you?
When you get on that front page, right, you'll see like the description, but right at the bottom it'll be name, address, contact, message. And
awesome.
That contact form will come straight to my email address.
Very cool.
The Epicos group. So I'll get that directly.
Very cool.
So here's the deal, gentlemen and ladies and men that are listening to this. If you're a first responder, first and foremost, thank you so much for what you do.
Yeah.
We appreciate it. If there's anything we can do, obviously reach out to us at info@knownlegacy.org.
Yeah.
If you have no other information, you're driving and you're like have no way to pick up the website or whatever, info@knownlegacy.org. The other thing is this. I know some of you guys out there, you got the resources to make an impact and a difference, and you're trying to figure out what to do with those resources. And I think this is a worthy cause that I would encourage you and your spouse to sit down and say, man, what can we do to really make a difference and an impact in this place, to be a part of something from the ground zero and to really see what God might be able to do with this over the next year or 5 through you and your sacrificial supports for this much needed ministry and mission.
A lot of guys are like, I don't know what to do. I don't really have the big dream. And I'm like, a lot of times what's needed from guys like Jay, who are an awesome dreamer, but he's also a doer. It's not just like he's not on his couch. He really didn't do 5K to couch. He really did do the real thing. And so to say, I'm going to support something like this, because a lot of guys are like, I don't really know what I want to do, but that's, thank you so much. I love that with our laugh track. But I would say, man, there is just an opportunity to just partner with him. And so if you guys are feeling this tug in your heart, do it and go at it. And so, Jay, it's been awesome having you on. I know we have a little more for you.
We do. We're not done with this conversation, Jay. We have what we affectionately call the Fast Five. And so, Jay, this is where you're on the hot seat. We want your first reactions, your first ideas and thoughts on this. And without further ado, Bill, read the list. Ask the questions.
So, Jay, okay, here it is, question number 1. Because, last time you were on here, we had thrown some questions at you. These are new questions.
They're new.
So, we are new people. We're new creatures in Christ than we were before. New questions
and you'll find a theme in these questions.
There is a theme.
There is a theme that would help us go from 5K to couch.
Exactly. Definitely would do that.
Because I remember last time, too, you guys sent me a gift that made me fatter. Which is
that's awesome. Yes, we did. We sent him donuts.
Myself, I didn't share it.
He didn't share them. That's the best. That is what true love is, because you were protecting your family.
Of, like sugar mix or whatever that came with it. After I ate all the donuts, I just poured the last of that baggie straight in my mouth. It's dumped all that sugar, cinnamon stuff.
That is what worship tastes like. Just so you know, that's what it is.
Taste and see.
Taste and see the goodness of God. So awesome. Okay. All right. So question number 1: what would you have for your last meal?
Oh, this is easy. Brisket, jalapeno sausage, potato salad, rolls, peach cobbler with a little bit of ice cream, and about a whole gallon of sweet tea.
Now, if you had any questions about his Texas credentials,
he's thought about that.
Yeah, yes, he has. If you've ever questioned his Texas credentials, right there, he nailed. I am 100% a Texan with that answer right there.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. That's awesome. So that's perfectly he did. Jay is from Texas, deep in the heart of Texas, where the stars are bright.
The moon is bright.
It's dark.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Stop.
Wow, I'm from New York, obviously. So, anyways,
West Texas, where the wind is strong and the dirt is brown.
there it is. That's it right there.
And it rains dirt. That's the weirdest thing out there, man. It rains dirt.
Oh, love it. Okay, next one's, if you're on a stranded island, what's one album or musician you would want to listen to forever?
Yes, this is going to throw y'all off. Celine Dion.
What? It actually won't throw me off because I know how big of a Celine Dion fan he is.
Nothing like a good love song. I'm a sucker for a good love song.
And if you mess with Celine, he gets mean.
That's right. I just lost all my Texas credentials. Right?
You did, but
No.
jalapeno sausage were good. So,
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, guilty pleasure. Now we're not going sinful here. We're just talking like guilty pleasure. So go for it. What's your guilty pleasure?
Probably not. It's probably not guilty pleasure, but UFC, dude. I just love to watch some violence.
Yeah.
It's okay. That's okay.
You know, sometimes people say violence is not the answer, and I say sometimes it is the answer.
Yes.
And I feel guilty saying that, but that's what I believe.
Oh,
They
that's
may
awesome.
be few and far between, but when it's time, you better be ready.
It's go time. It's go
Just go to
time.
blows.
Oh, that's hilarious. Okay, what's one word, what one word would your wife use to describe you?
Loud.
Okay. Loud. Loud is the word. Okay, loud. All right, I'll take that. Is there any reason why or no?
I'm just loud. Me and my oldest daughter are just loud. Loud talking, loud laughing. It's just everything has to be loud. I don't understand. That's
Loud
the
is-
word that comes up. There's probably other words she used, but yeah.
But no, loud is a good one to use. I would say, but it's probably that's a safe word. So, how do you want to be remembered when you die?
I want people to say he loved well. He helped people see God and His story in the most difficult moments of their lives. That's what I want. He helped see.
That's
You've
good.
heard me talk over and over about. He helped people see the bigger story in the worst moments of life.
That's good.
That's
good.
really good.
That's good.
That's cool. Okay, so bonus question. Let's see. Oh, yeah, I guess that's it. Bonus question. What biblical character would you want to have lunch with? Not Jesus, because we know that's the Sunday school answer. Not Jesus. Who else would you want to?
Let's see. Caleb. I think Caleb. I love at the end of his life. He was
Okay.
Like 85 years old. You know, he was like, give me the toughest battle and the biggest, as they were just kind of fighting for the land. Give me the biggest battle. I'm not done yet.
That's
I
awesome.
like that. I love that.
No one's ever said Caleb.
No, I like it.
But I do picture this old guy who's totally jacked with a giant sword, like standing in front of a sword like this, kind of like just like, here I am, ready to go. And he's like, send me back in. Well, I was
Yeah.
supposed to do this 40 years ago. Send me back in.
Yep, I'm all in. I love it.
Yeah, he's
Hey,
kind
Jay.
of got one eye out.
Oh, gosh.
Anyways, Jay, we really appreciate your time and your effort. Thank you so much. Thank you for what you're doing. And, man, if there's anything else we can do to help out the cause, let us know. We are all in, and we're behind you, heart and soul.
Man, well, we're grateful for
Thank
you, brother.
guys for asking.
Yeah, thank you, dude. And we will, again, continue to share this. And we want to hear more about this in a while. If you want to partner with Jay, epicwarrior.org.
Yep.
And, guys, we'd love to hear from you. Check us out at Known Legacy. We've talked all about that today.
Yep.
Jay, thank you again for being on. You're a blessing, brother. Everyone, have a great week.
God bless you guys.
All right.
Thanks for listening to the Known Legacy Podcast. We'd love to hear from you, so email us your questions or comments to info@knownlegacy.org.